Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're taking a look at the Kizer LAN. This is a pretty interesting knife that I've been wanting to get on the channel for a while. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's start off with our blade length measurement and his comparisons. Let me reach over here and awkwardly grab my handy dandy Smokey the Bear ruler from I don't even know where. We can see here we're coming in under 3.5 inches. I'd call this 3.4, or just a little bit over 3.25. Not, it's right there in that like good EDC size. Okay, let's do some comparisons. Here's a rat 1. And here's a rat 2. So, like a lot of knives, it falls in between the rat 1 and 2. Be kind of interesting if Ontario would make a rat model that was in between those two sizes. Anyways, next up, let's bring out our Benchmade bug out. Pretty close in size, those two. And here's our PM2. There we go. Awesome. And then let's bring out our Civivis. Where are they? Here they are. There's the Elementum. And here's our Praxis, as always. Ta-da! And then to close this up, let's compare quickly against some Kizers. Here's a Kizer I think everyone should have. This is the Lieb. Really, really great knife. Big fan of that one. And here's the most recent Kizer I've gotten. The Beglighter XL. There we go. Okay, so what are we looking at in terms of specs on this knife? So we have a Tanto blade here. This knife is also offered in a drop point that has a satin finish. This coated Tanto is in N690, just like the drop point. Focus up camera. There you can see N690. The handles are G10. On the drop point version, they are micarta. We have this interesting frag pattern. Steel clip, it's a steel liner lock. Really, really great action on caged ceramic bearings, centering and everything. Awesome. Let's go ahead and go do some cutting. Alrighty, let's talk about the Kizer LAN. Really cool knife here. So, it's a Tanto blade of N690 steel, G10 handles, steel clip. Let's talk about that action. Yeah, this knife has become kind of famous for its action, and very, very drop shutty. The detent is good. I can fail it. Oh, but it's very difficult too. Yeah, very hard to fail. There's a fail, but really nice. This flipper tab shape good. Very smooth on these bearings. Completely fall shut. No question about it. Really, really nice. All right, how are the ergos? The ergos are what I would consider to be fine. It's comfortable. Nothing amazing, but also nothing to really complain about. The ergos are good. The jimping on the spine is excellent. This is the jimping that I want to see on every knife. Very, very nice jimping. Big, big fan of that. Okay, how's it carry? The blade folds up almost completely into the handle. It's a pretty slim knife, pretty lightweight. The pocket clip is really, really good. Get over there. Goes in all the way. No complaints there. It is a reversible clip, which is awesome. Good amount of room in there, and it has that Kizer 3-hole thing where you can have it deeper carry or shallower carry depending on what you want. Awesome, let's go ahead and do some cutting. About 15 thousandths behind the edge right here is what I measured it out at. very old box. Very, very slicey there on the cardboard. Awesome, let's put that box back. Do some rope cutting. I actually recently got some new rope. Oh, we've got some zip ties here. You know what? This will be nice. See if we can use that more robust Tanto tip. Very, very nice. And then I don't really need a carabiner on this. This is just going to be review cut rope. So pretty good. Let's go ahead and do it right here. Fairly decent there. Let's go ahead and grab the pool noodle. We have a new color pool noodle, finally. Let's get it out here, past the shade. Oh yeah. Yeah. Nice, thin slices. The edge felt good going through. The geometry on the blade felt really, really nice. Very, very good. Awesome. Let's get back to the table. Alrighty, so let's talk about what I'm liking and not liking about the Kizer LAN. So first off, I like the way this knife looks. This is a really cool knife, especially this all blacked out version. I think they did they did kind of a smart thing by making the Tanto this all blacked out version, having the drop point be the more tame, I guess, satin blade with the micarta handle. That doesn't really affect the usability of the knife at all, but it kind of fits a theme, I guess, and I think it's cool. I think this looks really, really nice. Let's talk about that Tanto blade. Even though these black colors suggest a very tactical, operator-esque look, and even though a lot of people who aren't necessarily knife people associate the Tanto blade with ninjas and murders and all types of violence, the Tanto blade is actually just a really, really good EDC blade shape. I am not the biggest Tanto person, and I do not have very many Tantos in my collection. But every time I review a Tanto, I'm always reminded that Tantos are really freaking good for EDC. The entire time I carried this knife, I always felt like I had the right tool for the job. And I did not carry this on the ranch, in the woods. You know, I carried this around town. I carry this in my apartment, you know, while I'm here at school. And I just always felt like I had the right tool for the job as far as light duty EDC goes. Let's talk about this grind here. Compound grind, like most Tantos are. We have a hollow grind here, and a flat grind here. That's exactly what I like to see with Tantos. Is I like to see a differentiation between this edge and this edge as far as a grind goes, because this is where you're going to do your slicing. But up here, I like to have a flat grind, more of a strong grind for different types of things. If you're pushing down onto cuts, if you're scraping, it's good to have a little bit of a beefier tip up here, piercing tasks. And so I always like to see slicing and then a little bit tougher up here towards the tip. There are several Tantos that I do not like, where the grind here is not very different from the grind up here. I think that's a big missed opportunity, and I don't like seeing that in a Tanto, because for me, the best parts of a Tanto are, again, the versatility that you get between this edge and this edge. Besides just that, this knife sliced very, very well, very thin in this hollow grind, passed through material very nicely. The blade stock is not overly thick. This point here is nice and defined. Get really good utility cuts, opening packages, very detailed work like that. So this is an excellent Tanto. This is exactly the type of performance I'm looking for with a Tanto knife. Let's talk about the ergos. I do like the ergos. This is a very comfortable knife. The jimping up here, I want to draw special attention to because this is perfect. This is exactly what every knife should have in terms of jimping. It's very fine. It's grabby, but not rippy, if that makes sense. And it extends out a good long ways to where no matter how you're grabbing the knife, you're not going to run out of jimping. A lot of knives, let's look for an example of one. Yeah, here we go. This is the Civivi Hadros. The jimping is just right there. I really think jimping like that needs to extend out quite a bit more because when I grab this knife, this is my natural grip here. And as you can see, only the back part of my thumb is interacting with the jimping. If I want my whole thumb to interact with the jimping, I get back here, and that's a little less natural. So this, the way that Kizer's doing this jimping is perfect. And I've noticed that they've been doing that on a lot of knives. Bring out that Beglighter XL again. Same type of thing. Bring out this knife. Same type of deal. So I like seeing that. That's absolutely excellent. Good job, Kizer. I like that a lot. So the ergos are very nice. Very neutral-ish. I mean, you have this big choil here for your finger, but this is a completely good EDC type of ergos. It's very comfortable. If I bear down a little bit, it's still pretty comfortable. I'm not going to be bearing down super hard with this knife. There's really only one way to grab this knife, and it's right here, but it's very comfortable. It works. So the ergonomics turn out to be very good. Not great, not amazing, not hand-melting, but there's also nothing to complain about. Very, very nice. The pocket clip is reversible, and I kind of like this idea that Kizer has here with these 3 holes where you can mount the clip a little bit lower for some shallower carry, or you can mount it all the way up for deeper carry. So that's kind of neat. As you can see here, this one is mounted a little bit. This one's mounted on the lower part, which is still deep carry because this clip, yeah, hides a knife pretty much completely. Very good clip. I've been liking Kizer's clips quite a bit. Good spring. It is not recessed, but the screws are flat. And focus here. Don't focus on the fossils in the back. And very low profile. Do I wish it was recessed? Yes, but this is okay. This is not bad. I'm not going to complain about that. And the tension of the clip is really good. They have it balanced out really nicely to where, you know, even though this is a frag pattern handle, they just have the clip sitting on the texture, and it still works. It does, you know, hang up just a little bit, but I think they did a very good job in dialing the pressure of the clip to mitigate that a little bit. So I really don't have any complaints with the pocket clip or the carry on this knife. It's very, you know, fold up in a nice rectangle, and this knife is very lightweight. Like this is super lightweight. It's not as lightweight as the Bug Out, whatever, but it's pretty lightweight. I definitely noticed that. And as someone who doesn't really care that much about weight, it's not a big deal to me, but for people who are big weight ratio people, it's going to be good. Access to the liner is excellent. They gave you a nice cutout there to get to the liner. Very, very nice jimping on the liner. Excellent, excellent action. Or excellent, excellent access to the liner. Access, not action. But I guess it's time we talk about action, isn't it? The action on this knife is legendary, to say the least. This knife came out last year, and already everyone knows about the action on this knife. And yeah, let's do it. That is a complete finger guillotine. That there is absolutely nothing slowing that blade down when it comes. And the crazy thing is the knife is locked up solid. It's an amazing action. I'm not the biggest fan of these just complete drop shut knives. I'm not, but a lot of people are. And so this is something that's very interesting to a lot of people. And for me, I can appreciate the engineering that goes into making a knife this smooth. For one thing, Kizer does this, grab my flashlight. Yeah. Focus. See that little area they have cut out there right above where the lock interface is? That's something that they've been doing. And it makes the blade lighter back here, which of course brings the balance out towards the tip. And especially on this knife that's a Tanto, and the drop point too, where you have this compound grind that retains quite a bit of thickness in this area here. That just drags the blade shut. As for the opening action, the slipper tab is done very, very well. Very nicely shaped, and the jimping on there is done purposefully. You can feel it. Very good flip. The fuller here, nice and sharp, and you can reverse flick it, and you can thumb flick it very, very easily. Now, I would not say the detent is like super strong. It's pretty snappy detent. I can't even do my little, where I show the detent sucking in because the knife just wants to fall. It's a snappy detent. It's definitely not, you can fail it. But, yeah, you're going to be a little bit hard pressed. So, yeah, the action is phenomenal. Okay, so that about sums up what I like. Let's go into what I don't like. Okay, so first thing, N690 steel is a steel that I have become kind of meh on. I don't hate it. I know some people absolutely hate it. I don't hate it, but it's definitely not my favorite. However, it does seem like Kizer this year is moving all of their knives from N690 to 154 cm, which I think is a big, big improvement. But I just want to mention that it's not a good thing or a bad thing, just I do think 154 cm is better than N690. Okay, my first negative that I'm going to talk about is this very early lockup. I've had issues with Kizer and early lockup in the past. Let's look at this little leap. Incredibly early lockup. Incredibly early. And do you hear that lock stick? And this is even after I have attempted to, as you can see there, I have some Sharpie on the lock face to try and smooth that out a little bit. Yeah, early lockup with that kind of lock stick is not really a great thing. And then, of course, the knife that I've had for years and still haven't reviewed. I'm going to get around to it. Don't worry, guys. This is a liner lock, and as you can see there, very early engagement. It holds the knife open. Oof, that was a bad idea. No blade play, but yes, it takes nothing to overcome that lock. And I know this is not a isolated problem. I have talked to other people who have had similar issues with Kizers that just don't lock up securely. And that's a big issue for me. It's a very, very big issue. So, yeah, and this knife I did not have any problems with. I will say, when I was cutting with this, going through like long passes on cardboard, I did develop lock stick. And it went away after just a few flips. It went away, but still, that shows me that there's just something a little off about their lock geometry. And that's not something that I'm very excited about. But yeah, again, this knife held up pretty good. And this is a light-duty EDC. I'm not going to be pushing this through anything super difficult. But this is also a light-duty EDC that I didn't push through anything difficult. And I don't use this knife anymore because I just do not trust it. So that's something that's kind of always in the back of my mind with Kizers. That's one of the reasons I haven't purchased very many. you know, do what you will with that information. Okay, next thing. I'm not the biggest fan of this G10. I think it looks cool. The grip is pretty good, but it's just kind of, for me, the whole knife, it just kind of feels a little bit hollow. And that leads to the, as Kevin from Lefty EDC calls it, the Kizer rattle. Which, yeah, this knife was the first knife that I handled where I was like, oh, that's what he's talking about. That's the rattle. So, you know, it's not like an issue. It just makes the knife feel a little bit cheap, which this is not a cheap budget knife. We'll talk about that. Actually, you know what? We'll talk about that now. These go for about $69 or $62. Let me check real quick. Yeah, it is $69. So I thought that's what most of the Kizer Vanguard knives go for. And that's a little bit pricey. You know, that's in the upper echelon of budget knife, in my opinion, at least. And yeah, but other than that, I really don't have a whole lot more complaints. Sorry about the doors knocking in the background. Anyways, let's go ahead and go right on to my final conclusions. Overall, my final conclusions are overwhelmingly positive. As I carried this knife, and I carried this knife for a good while, probably about 3 weeks on and off a little bit, carried it quite a bit, and every time I had this knife in my pocket, I feel like I had a good EDC knife. I feel like I had a solid tool for my light duty EDC stuff, which, while I'm here at college, that's really all I need. Breaking down some cardboard is about the toughest thing I do. And this knife handled everything I needed it to do very, very well. I thought the blade was really nice. I was reminded once again that Tantos are just excellent EDC blade shapes. And I was happy with it. Kizer recently has, in my opinion, seen a huge spike in popularity in 2021. And going forward in 2022, I think that they're going to keep riding that wave. You know, they are definitely pioneering a new level of budget knife action. Like, this is insane. And this isn't the type of action that's my favorite, but for fidgeting, oh my gosh, this is a dream come true. This is fantastic. This is a really, really impressive action. The fact that they pulled off that with solid lockup, no blade play or anything, and it's in a budget knife, that's really impressive, and I give them massive props. Other than that, the only real complaints I had was that this knife felt a little bit cheapish to me, but that's probably just my personal opinion because the knife is so light. Other people that probably won't bother. And the fact that I don't entirely trust a lockup based on some of my past experiences with Kizer. This knife didn't have any of those problems though, and so I can definitely say that I do recommend this knife, and I think this was a really, really cool knife. I enjoyed carrying it. Am I going to add one of these to my collection? No. By the way, thank you to the viewer that loaned this in. I appreciate it. Am I going to add one of these to my collection? No, I don't think so. But I have really enjoyed the time that I've spent with this knife. So, really, really nice. This jimping is my favorite part. Please, everyone, take note of what Kizer is doing. This is good. This is good stuff. Please, more of this. Love that jimping. Absolutely fantastic. It's probably my favorite part of the knife, honestly. But, yeah. Really, really cool knife. I do think that Kizer's price, $69 for most of their Vanguard stuff, it's just a smidge high. But now they're moving to 154 cm. It's feeling a lot better. So, yeah. Plus, they do release knives at other price points and stuff. I wish this was $59, but yeah. This knife does get a recommend from me. Very, very cool knife. Great EDC. Just a fantastic EDC knife. So, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like and comment. If you didn't enjoy it, comment below and tell me why. And I'll see you in the next one. Adios.